And I told her I don't care if he is her husband. Right now.
It's time to rise from the grave, pour yourself a cup, and enjoy the coffee crypt.
Voices from the Mausoleum is brought to you by the You Run Podcast Network and yourunpodcast.com. And while we still have your attention, be sure to check out the Dewey Pod Monster podcast, available where all podcasts are downloaded. The podcast's all about consumption, beer, music, movies, TV. Nothing is off limits. They're really fun. Go check them out. Good morning, and welcome to another edition of the Coffee Crypt. Here, instead of Angel, we've got our good friend Norin covering while she's still out recovering.
Thank you so much, Steve. Thank you so much. It's a blast to be here again. It's a blast.
Yep, for your second Coffee Crypt now.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
This is your second one, right? Because you did one in December, right?
Yep. Yeah, so second Coffee Crypt, it's going to be fun. Still rocking the same cup, though. This is like, my Jason mug is like my specific mug. So this is the one mug like in the house. Like if I see someone else using it, they're going to get the eyes. It's like, I'm like, what are you doing with my mug? And wash it and put it back.
Yes. Everyone needs to have their one mug. You know, I need more horror mugs, just in general. I have a Coffee Crypt mug. I have a Demon Slayer mug. And I have
that's cool.
What else? I need I need a couple of more just so I can have sort of rotate, because I know we just have so many, like just random. just have dad joke loading.
Nice.
And a bunch of random other like nerdy cups. I don't know. But yeah, so we got a pretty packed episode today. Lots of trailers, lots of news stories. There was a lot. I sort of had to like pick and choose which news stories to cover because we can't go through. They were like 100 news stories, you know, especially just over a lot happens in 2 weeks. And so I sort of picked stuff that seemed exciting, things that I know that we've covered before on the show. And there was either a continuation, you know, more developing stories, or just things that like really, you know, tickled my fancy, we'll say.
Nice. Perfect. Yeah, I know horror's popping right now. That's what's great, is like horror is great for everything right now in terms of writing, production, filming. Like it's popping off everywhere.
Hell yeah. We are in a new golden era, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone sort of, you know, the 90s, I feel like you had 70s, 80s, 90s, great 30 years of horror, right? And I feel like, you know, say what you will, you know, there's some decent early 2000s movies. Sure, there's always exceptions to the rule, but I feel like, you know, 2000 to 2010 for the majority of them was a real rough spot. And then I think, I don't know. I think the 2020s really have been showing up for horror.
Oh, definitely. It's been a good, like I would say, at least the last 3 years have been very strong. Great variety. I would say 2022 is probably my favorite out of the last 3 years, but it's been a great variety so far.
I mean, 22 we had X, right?
Yeah, we had X and Men and Fresh. Fresh was one of my favorites. Oh man, Fresh, I love that one.
Smile, Barbarian. Yep. It was a hot year.
Yeah.
Right? I forgot about Fresh. Fresh was so good. But so let's talk about our first trailer. You know, so I did a short reaction to it when it first came out. But I definitely want to talk about it more in depth, and that is A Quiet Place Day One, starring Lupita Nyong'o.
She's fabulous. We love her. Yep.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And no stranger to horror.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I love seeing her in horror because she's a strong actress, like one that I could see eventually getting nominated for multiple kind of stuff, you know, in Oscars kind of categories.
Was she never nominated for one of her dramatic roles?
I don't know if she was. I don't believe so. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
She wasn't nominated for 12 years, right? 12 Years a Slave. Was she nominated for that one?
Can't remember. I know that was a big one that year when it came out. She might have been nominated for like
You got best supporting.
best supporting.
You got the Oscar for best supporting for 12 Years a Slave. I was like, I could have sworn she got nominated for something. She won it.
Nice.
not to do like a actually moment, but I was like, I was like, did I make that up in my head? But what did you think about day one, the trailer?
I'm excited because I think it's going to be really fun because this is one of those universes where I think we could ask questions or have answers to questions that we want to know, like because we are kind of curious about what day one was like and where these creatures came from and how it went down and stuff like that. So it's kind of like that D-Day event, it's like, oh, you're really interested in knowing how it is, so I'm hoping it's better than the sequel because I wasn't too fond of the sequel. I really liked the first one and I thought the sequel was just kind of all right.
Yeah. It didn't sort of pick up on the momentum. I think we talked about that, or I think maybe it was during my reaction. I think you might have said that. I was like, yeah, no, I 100% agree. The first one is just so good in the way that it just draws out the suspense. It's really suspenseful. I think they played with sound so well. And they try to do it again in the second one. This one is very different, right? Because they're just figuring out that they have to be quiet, right? So this feels like a loud, action-packed movie.
Oh yeah, this one I feel like is going to be. Yeah, this is going to be definitely one that will have like probably a very chaotic feel to it. I have a feeling it's going to be the pace is going to be probably a lot different because that first film, it was like you said, the slow build, the slow burn, really getting you involved in those characters and the emotions. And this one, I think, is going to be like just very fast paced.
Yeah, there's some moments in the trailer that hint at I hope we get some quieter, no pun intended, some quieter moments, right? Of just that little suspense, that intensity. Because I can see like sort of these big heavy action things happening sort of all at once, and then you kind of maybe this long stretch where they're trying to regroup and figure out what's going on, and kind of all the strangers. I don't know if they all know each other, but speaking of strangers, right? We got Eddie from Stranger Things in this. I forget his actual. Is it like Joe something or I forget, but he's in this. So it's a good cast.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I was definitely getting Cloverfield vibes, with the city kind of getting to,
Oh yeah.
getting it.
Do we know did Krasinski come back to direct this one, or did he just write this one?
I think he was part of the writing team.
The writing team,
I think he directed it. I'll be curious if we get a cameo, maybe towards the end or something, right?
Possible,
Like that family, maybe,
Yeah, it could have like either a hint at the town, like where they got attacked, that town, or just the family in general, or maybe like that farm area, like even if we just get a glimpse of like that area that they built up, like something that'll kind of hint at like a nice little nod.
Yeah, I know it'd be interesting. But yeah, no, I'm in. So this is coming out June 28th. Our next trailer premiered during the Super Bowl. Sorry, the big game. I know that's sort of the Super Bowl is copyright, but that's Twisters. I love the original Twister. Did I feel like it needed a sequel? I don't know. What did you think about the trailer?
This is one that I'm kind of mixed on because in terms of like graphics and CGI wise, I can see why you would want to do a film like this now because it's going to look a lot better. It's going to look so much better. But like I'm just watching it and I'm like, I don't know if I have a tie or a love for these characters. Plus, like that first film, it's you have a soft spot for it because Bill Paxton and everything. You just kind of have a soft spot for it. You know what I mean? That first film. So I kind of feel like I'm in the same boat as you. Like, did we really need a sequel? I do want to see this, but I don't feel like this is going to be like a rush out to the theater experience type film for me.
That's how that's how they get you, right? Because I feel like this is something you're going to want to see in IMAX to get the best experience, even if it may not be good. But they're going to get my money anyway. I'm like, you bastards, But that's the thing, right? You're not getting Bill Paxton, Philip Seymour Hoffman, right? Who's no longer with us. He's in the original. Yeah, the original. I had a weird, probably unhealthy obsession with tornadoes as a kid because of the original. And I was interviewing Squall, who came back on the Squall Charleston, came back on the channel to do his influential horror, and he was talking about how the first time he saw The Shining was because they were watching it on the drive-in in Twister.
That's
And he
true.
always wanted to go back and
Wow.
figure out what the hell this movie was, that they were this creepy movie that was, but yeah, it does look like aesthetically great.
Yeah.
I love that it's grounded a little bit more. I mean, obviously it's an action movie, it's going to be intense and sort of wild. When I say grounded is like the tornadoes look a little bit more realistic. We're not sort of getting these like superstorms that you might see in like 2012 or Day After Tomorrow, or we're not going like super crazy into the world big, right? It's not like some Sharknado situation. I don't know. Like this feels a little more grounded in like what disaster movies used to be like.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be more of, like you said, personal stakes. It's probably just going to be like our main character. He looked like he was the gung ho cowboy character that thinks he's almost untouchable because he's been doing it so long and he knows what he's doing. And I think he's going to, like you said, they're going to underestimate probably a storm or something, and it's going to catch him off guard.
Yeah, I was wanting to say the cast here. We have Glenn Powell is in this. We have Anthony Ramos, which is so it's a good cast, right? Daisy Edgar Jones, they're good actors. So I'm hoping, like, because we don't really get a lot about the characters too much, other than like one's like a cocky sort of rodeo guy, and like like you said, the one guy's sort of really into, so it'd be interesting. But like I was saying, it feels like a nice old school disaster movie, which I have such a soft spot for those. And I sort of put that under the horror umbrella. Like I love, like the Poseidon Adventure is it's in my top 5 movies.
Nice.
I love that movie so much. I actually watch it every year on my birthday.
Wow, that's cool.
Because it's one of my favorite movies, but it's also my birthday's New Year's Eve, and the movie takes place on New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you can't top that. So yeah, I watch it every year. But Airport. Airplane's the parody of Airport. Then you have Towering Inferno, Dante's Peak, I think the volcano one.
Yeah, and then they did. But do you remember? I think Backdraft. Do you remember that one? That one's kind of old. I think it was a fire one. I think.
I don't know if I know that one.
I think that's the 70s. I want to say 70s, but I think it's one about fire, like kind of like fire going on.
I'm trying to remember, like there was. So I took, when I was in film school, I took a disaster movies course. So it's sort of like we watched like Airport, Poseidon Adventure, Towering Inferno. We watched an old school sci-fi film called Them, which I guess kind of technically counts as a disaster movie. It was about a killer giant ant. It's kind of awesome. And then we watched one about the Chicago fire. And then there was one about, I think there was an earthquake, right? There was a California earthquake one. But yeah, like there's so many, like disaster films can be really fun. I mean, clearly, and they can win Oscars, right? Look at Titanic. That's technically a disaster movie, right?
Yeah, I would count that as that's like realism horror, because it's realistic. They do, over dramatize things for the screen, but it's stuff that could possibly actually happen, like on our planet where we live.
I mean, I think look at Final Destination, right? That's a horror movie, but it's also really a disaster movie, right?
Yeah.
So it's really I want them to really come back full force, and not in that 2012 Day After Tomorrow kind of way. I want like classic disaster movies, I guess, like this. So I guess I'm sort of getting my wish.
Yeah.
So that is coming July 19th. Twisters. Any other thoughts before we move on to our next trailer?
No. Ready to roll.
Moving on to one I'm really excited about. We covered this a few months ago. We just sort of got like one image, and that's stop motion. It's an IFC Shutter film, and that is coming February 23rd.
Yeah, that's coming up soon. I'm like, ooh, ooh.
Yeah, so this is going to be the last Friday of the month. So, yeah, so less than a week from when this episode airs. Yeah, so the plot for this, Ella Blake, a stop motion animator struggling to control her demons after the loss of her overbearing mother, embarks upon the creation of a film that becomes the battleground for her sanity. As Ella's mind starts to fracture, the characters in her project take on a life of their own. Yeah, I mean, why don't we start with your thoughts on this trailer?
This one I'm absolutely elated for, or ecstatic, because this is one of those films that I would love to show people just off the trailer. I can tell that it's so creative in its idea, and I love horror because of that reason. When a writer or a director is able to really bring out this idea, and it's in companies like some kind of child stuff, like stop motion animation is something you would typically think is like a child type animation style or for children, and to accompany that in a horror realm and make it a psychological thriller, and it has like such these good dark tones to it. I was like, wow, like this is really cool. Like, I think the only trope that they're kind of sticking with is the overbearing mother, which seems to be really popular in most recent years.
I mean, that's a solid horror trope anyway. I mean, look at Carrie's mother,
Yeah.
you know, like that's there for sure. But definitely, well, tropes have their resurgences.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I love stop motion animation. It's so it takes a lot of effort, a lot of hours to do something like that. So mad respect for any stop motion animation artists, but I was thinking like claymation, like Tim Burton kind of got it. I love stop motion is inherently pretty freaking creepy.
It does look, yeah, even because Evil Dead, like back in the day, right? Evil Dead, Sam Raimi's the first one.
Evil
You know what I
Dead,
mean?
stop motion, yep. I'm even just like not horror, but like the claymation Christmas movies have some creepy stuff in them. Like I'm thinking there's was it Santa Claus is Coming to Town has the oh my gosh, not the and I'm not, it has the Winter Warlock, but I'm trying to think. It has like a creepy thing in it. I don't know. I can't remember some creature. But like those things have some creepy stuff in it,
Yeah.
But it's sort of like that weird blend of like I said, childlike entertainment, but it kind of just has this inherent eeriness to it. And the stop motion that the character is doing in the film is particularly creepy. So she's clearly like working through her trauma and her stuff, like through this work. Like this woman figure that she molded is proper creepy. I don't know if it's supposed to be her, if it's supposed to be like what this is representing. But all this stuff is like coming to life in some way, whether it's psychological or actually happening, we don't know yet.
Yeah, we'll see.
That is,
and then we had like that creepy little girl in the trailer. Like we always have the little child character that knows a little bit too much or something, or seems like they know too much. You're like, what are you doing?
Yeah. The child is going to be the villain this whole time. That's my. I'll put a little bit of money down on that. I don't know. But it looks really intense, really creepy. It looks like they hinted at some body horror going on here. Yeah, real blend, real psychological trip. It seems like it's going to be.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun for real, and especially that it's coming up soon. It's going to be something for us to all be talking about over like the next couple of weeks when it drops.
Oh yeah. We've been wanting to do more like film reviews. We just had one about the latest shark movie that came out, No Way Up. I'm like, I feel like this will be a good one to do a review for.
So, oh yeah, because there's going to be a lot to dissect and themes and what you get from it and stuff, especially on multiple watches too. This is definitely going to be a film that would probably take multiple watches to really get your grasp on it.
Well, you're more than invited for a stop motion discussion.
Nice. Thank you.
I've been excited for this one for a few months, so I'm definitely gonna. This is gonna be a night one. It was opening in theaters February 23rd, so I wonder if this is going to be a limited release. because you know what it was, because the Children of the Corn remake was very similar. It wasn't an IFC. It was XYZ. I forget who it was, but it was eventually
Yeah.
ended up on Shudder, but it was only in theaters for like a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
probably the same. So our next trailer is also one I've been excited for probably more than months. I think I've heard about this thing maybe last year. So this is Late Night with the Devil. This is probably the most excited thing I have on our lineup. That I am for on our lineup this week. So this is so it's starring David Dastmalchian, who I absolutely adore. He is so good. Whether it is Suicide Squad or oh my gosh, he was in Smile. He was in Last Voyage of the Demeter. He was in the Ant-Man movies. He can do everything. He could be funny. He could be scary. He could be like, the range on this dude is just so impressive. But
I even think he's done some voice acting too. He's even done voice acting. He's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah. I can't remember the first thing I've seen him in. I saw him in, but I just feel like now I almost just feel like he's always been around.
Yeah.
Might have been Ant-Man was probably the first thing I ever saw him in. But so he plays Jack Delroy in this, and Jack Delroy is a 70s late night talk show host, and it is so like Johnny Carson coded. It is just super 70s. With the music, the voiceover, so we had a teaser and a trailer. So the trailer sort of goes a little bit more into the horror. The teaser sort of made it seem a little bit funnier. Because the teaser that came out was just more of like a promo for the show itself, whereas in the trailer sort of showed like what's really going on. But so Jack brings on a parapsychologist who is studying a young girl who's supposedly possessed. He brings on a psychic. He brings on a clairvoyant, which I guess is the psychic. But brings on like all these like specialists. And it's supposed to be like Halloween night, 1977. We're doing this creepy themed show, and the devil wreaks havoc, and it just goes off the walls. What did you think of the trailer? Did you see the teaser as well?
I just watched this one. I just watched the trailer, so I didn't see the teaser.
Essentially. Yeah. So the teaser, you're getting pretty much the full vibe from the trailer. The teaser was just sort of like as if you were watching a commercial promo for the show.
Okay.
That's all it was. So, but you really got the meat of it. So, what did you feel about? How did you feel about the full trailer?
I love that this one was like dripping in 70s aesthetic and nostalgia. It was just like dripping, like the whole like theme. It really was like you got teleported to that time and you were sitting down in front of the TV in your jammies watching like a commercial or something. I was like, wow, this is so cool.
Yeah.
And like we said, basically, if it's gonna be him as our lead actor, kind of really carrying this movie, oh man, it's gonna be so fun because like you said, like he's got such a range where he's gonna be funny, we're gonna be laughing at him, he's gonna be chewing up the scenery, but then when it goes crazy and the horror gets going, he's gonna be reacting in such the great way. So I think this film is gonna be a lot of fun. It's just gonna be a whole lot of fun. That's what I think.
Yeah. And like we get the little snippet of like the girl as she's possessed. I liked how feral and visceral it seemed to look. I wish we didn't see it at all, but I'll just say, I can be a little bit surprised, but I'll say that I like that it was a little more visceral and feral, and it wasn't sort of this like cliche like CGI kind of possessed girl that we get all the time.
Oh yeah, that is a typical thing that it gets old, huh?
I'm over that trope. Like that effect is old. Like it's not effective. It's not scary. Let's just, I want makeup. I want it to look, Anyway, they can't all be Linda Blair, I guess. But at least try.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm very, very excited for this. So this is going to be on Shudder. The release date for it is March 22nd. So just a little over a month away.
Oh yeah, that's going to be great.
Yeah, I am super, super stoked. But yeah, no, Late Night with the Devil. I am in, and this is I don't want to go in assuming it's going to be one of my favorites of the year, but I have a feeling it's going to be one of my favorites of the year.
Yeah, I could see this easy being easy being top 10 worthy for sure, just because of the style and everything, and like the acting and stuff. Let's see how it goes. And I'm praying for some really good stuff,
Yeah.
even if it is kind of crazy and they leave it to like wondering at the end, where they like leave it hanging. I'm cool with that, as long as it's it's a fun ride.
Yeah. You know what this reminded me of? Did you ever see the British one, Ghost Watch?
Yes. Oh yeah, that's a lot of fun too. I
Great.
showed my daughter that actually last year.
I how old was I when I watched it? I think I saw. You know what? I think it was on DVD. I think this was when Netflix was only doing DVD rentals.
Okay.
Remember when they would mail it to your house?
Yep.
Yep, yeah,
And
okay.
the little red
A
envelope, or
little red
like
envelope, and yeah, I listen. That was Netflix is good, but that was when it was fun because like you would go to your mailbox. It was sort of like the half step between Blockbuster and streaming, right? It was like you still had the excitement of like going to your mailbox, seeing the red envelope, and you're like, it felt like something special as opposed to just clicking rent. You know,
yeah.
you got like a little present. No, you're good.
Yeah.
Magic of editing, will be fine. Those things. So you get the red envelope. It felt like a little present. So, but yeah, so that was when I saw a Ghost Watch. I think I got it like from Netflix like that, and I watched it at
Nice.
like midnight. I remember putting it in, when laptops still had disk drives, because apparently they don't anymore. That surprised me. So yeah, it scared the heck out of me.
Yeah, it was a good film, because that one I actually discovered pretty recent, because it was like you couldn't find the DVD anywhere, and it was so rare. No one has like a physical media release of it now, like where it's like, but I think there's a special edition one coming out pretty soon. I can't
They're
remember
coming
from
out,
who,
or
but I think it's
yeah.
overseas. I think there's an overseas company that got the rights to distribute that. But yeah, I watched it. I think it was like, on Shudder or Tubi. Someone got the rights to put it on. And
Yeah.
I watched it with my daughter, and I was like, it was so cool. It was really fun, because it was like, it felt real. And like we had the popcorn. I was like, this is so cool.
Hold on one sec.
Oh, you didn't have to add me.
Hi.
Hi. How are you doing? How are you
Coming to
feeling?
you from my bedroom.
Oh no! So you're just spying. That's really what it
I
was.
was like, oh, they're live. Let me go see. I'm just so
Yes.
nosy.
So I'm gonna keep this in the video. She's alive and well, everybody.
Yes,
Yeah,
proof of
we
life.
miss you. We miss you
Oh,
so
thanks.
much. How are you feeling?
I'm okay. Chris and I talked for like 2 hours, and so I'm like a little stiff from sitting in bed for so long, but I'm doing okay.
Yeah.
I get my stitches out tomorrow. Thank God, they're driving me
Yay.
crazy. But yeah, I'm not supposed to be recording anything, but we got those Valentine's Day boxes, and it just had to be done. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I saw you as we were recording. I saw you message me. I was like, I gotta answer you when we're done.
Well, I
recording.
didn't know. Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, because I'm not in. I didn't know when you were recording, and then I saw the live thing, and I was like,
Yeah.
I'm curious.
Sorry to bust in every time, Norin. Look at the cup I got, though.
Ah, that's gorgeous.
Nice.
Right?
That color really pops off of the black. It really pops.
I love it. No, anyway. Our boxes came with roses too.
Oh, real
Nice.
rose?
No velvet
Oh.
ones.
That's so nice, though.
Anyway, I won't keep you guys. Y'all get back to your news and coffee crypt stuff. I just wanted to say hi because I'm nosy.
Hello.
I'm not supposed to be doing this, so I'm going to be stretched out here in a minute. But I just, I wanted to say, yeah, my message was just me telling you we were done recording whenever you want to work on the episode.
Oh, cool.
I'm making Steve do all the work, including editing the one video I was around to do. I'm like, can you edit this for me?
Nice.
Oh yeah.
But he's such a doll.
It'll go out this week.
Yeah, he was the best for real.
Yeah, he is the best. Chris and I were talking about that earlier on the other episode. But anyway, all right, you guys. Well, y'all have a good night. I'm gonna bust. I'll leave you to it. But I just wanted to say hi.
Good night. Of course, you're always
Good night.
when you're half the show. You can.
I know, but I feel every time you're doing something with Norin, I'm just like, oh, by the way, let me just say hello. But no, I just I saw you guys were recording, and I wanted to say because I'm not supposed to be on this, but I am. So here, I just want to say hi. But.
Well, we are honored and blessed you popped by.
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, you guys have a good night. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Yeah. So
Always fun.
always, yeah. I love that. That's sort of now it's becoming a running gag.
Yeah, we gotta have it every time now. It's a tradition now.
Absolutely. But yeah, so we're talking Ghost Watch. But anyway, we'll go on to our next trailer because we got a lot to
Yeah.
cover, and that is Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2. Um Blood and Honey 2, bigger budget 2, a lot more going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm all here for this one to me because I know some people were not. They hated it and they hate what kind of the whole gag and what gimmick has Winnie the Pooh, like what it started. Now we got the Bambi one coming and a Peter Pan one coming, and a lot of people are hating this whole new trend that's going to start for horror. But I don't know. Maybe it's because I went in when I watched Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I just went in knowing exactly what I expected. It did
Yeah.
everything I expected. I wasn't expecting like some Oscar worthy, like, The Shining type thing or Doctor Sleep or anything like that. I was like,
Yeah.
this is going to be some schlocky B movie crap. And that's exactly what it was.
I mean, nor is it fair to like put those expectations on Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. Like the name
the
itself.
title tells it all. I mean, it's just fun, goofy, like you said, schlocky, bloody goodness. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, and if you have some diamonds in the rough, whether it's a good performance, a really funny joke, a really good kill, I mean, then that's just
Yeah.
like the cherry on top, right?
Oh yeah, like I love the first one. There's that kill the girl with the tire, and then the first one, like I thought that was fantastic. It
Oh
was all
yeah.
practical. I thought it was really cool.
And listen, I might ruffle some feathers by saying this, but like, let's stop pretending that some of our favorite horror movies are like we put these things on a pedestal sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? Like Friday 13th, great. Not great movies in terms of like you're not going to get an Oscar worthy sort of thing, but they are for the genre historical, right? The trend
Yeah.
they set the standard and they're fun and they're like and you do get good effects, some great performances, you do get like great kills, like all the good stuff that we love as horror fans, and like but even like, I'm trying to think of like other like classics. I'm not shitting on Friday the 13th. I love Friday the
Oh
13th.
no worries.
You know what I mean? But like, you know, yeah, I think people just want to hate things, so they were gonna just crap on, this movie. But I think it's fun. I'm impressed by the way this looks. Actually, this looks like it is. It's gonna take that schlocky B movie, keep the vibe, but sort of like just put a little sheen on it.
Yeah, a little filter. It's like just a little shine, like right there.
Yeah, some polish, right? Some fresh CGI, some fresh better looking camera shots, better like all that stuff, right?
I was a little
Um,
concerned why Winnie the Pooh and like some of the characters looked a little different though. I was like, we're gonna already start that thing where it's like the sequel and like Jason and all them, they look completely different, even
different
though it
masks,
was like
yeah.
not that long ago.
You know what? I don't want to give him too much credit. I don't think it was done on purpose to highlight, sort of be like a meta joke on how masks all look different. But like, let's just pretend it's a meta joke.
Yeah, that's true.
We'll just be like, oh, it's a reference to like how Michael and Jason sort of have different masks in different movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Winnie got some. I don't know. That's got a facelift.
Yeah, he's got a facelift, and it looks like he even got a little slimmer too. Like they slimmed him down a tiny bit.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I wonder
Yeah.
if there's also. I mean, we may be brushing past it. There could be an in-lore explanation as to why he looks a little different.
Yeah.
And he's bringing along some new friends to this go around, right? We got Tigger.
Oh
Which
yeah,
is
that was exciting,
insane.
huh? He was the one that spoke in the trailer, right? That was Tigger, right?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like the tail movement for Tigger and all that stuff. Look, I don't know. I'm pretty excited. So this is going to get a theatrical release. The TBD on when. I think the original came out in was it like October, November?
Yeah, I think so. It was right around that beginning of the spooky season. I think
Right. It wasn't the same year as Terrifier 2, right? It was like 1 or 2 years where they're it was just sort of this trend of these like it was like Winnie the Pooh, The Mean One, Terrifier 2, like a lot of these like low budge indie horror films are just getting like theatrical love and love to see it.
or really nice steelbooks too. They got a nice steelbook release too for Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Also,
Wait, they did?
yeah, they got a steelbook release for that movie. I didn't buy it though.
Oh, if it's all out, I might get it. I'm having a physical media resurgence, sort of. I feel like it's a gut response to all of like streaming rights being an issue, and then like Best Buy stopping their sales around it, and it's just sort of like,
Yeah,
oh
it's
man,
kind of
no,
crazy.
we need it. If you really feel like you want to own the movie, you should have a physical copy of it.
Oh yeah.
But anywho, our last trailer. Unless you had any other thoughts about Winnie the Pooh.
No, all good.
We got our second, maybe final trailer for Godzilla Kong New Empire. Speaking of just, well, not schlocky, because we can say he's schlocky. Silly fun, I would say. I'm pretty all in for this. Is a very different movie from because Godzilla -1 was huge. That's coming out of Japan, and now we're sort of getting the continuation of our MonsterVerse. So very tonally different monster films. So what did you think about either the second trailer or did you see the first one as well?
Yeah, I saw the first one as well.
Yeah. So this was more of like a story trailer. We're getting a little more like hints at the plot.
Yeah, they added in the element that they brought back the younger girl character. It was Rebecca Hall's character's back, but so is the younger girl. And she seems to have more of a connection with the stuff that's going on with Kong and seeing possibly the future. It kind of looked like she was seeing like future events or something like that. So we're adding in
future events where she's connected to Hollow Earth somehow, right?
Yep. Yeah, maybe because she's part of like maybe her lineage or her bloodline is maybe tied to that, culture or something like that back then. And for me, I think it's kind of cool that we're gonna get this one. It does look graphics wise, it does bother me a little bit because Godzilla -1 looked so good, like astronomically good.
Yeah.
But this one, it looks like it's gonna be like a lot of fun. And I heard some people saying that it was supposed to be like kind of almost like a buddy cop thing, like almost Mel Gibson, Danny Glover type style between Kong and Godzilla.
Oh man, it is. It can be fun. It's definitely going to be fun. I don't want to be like judgy about it, because I know I will be there that opening weekend, like enjoying this on IMAX, like having a blast. But when you compare it to something like -1, right? -1 is so grounded in like a heart-wrenching, just emotional sort of human story with like Godzilla truly going back to its roots of being this like metaphor for the bomb and like humanity and strife and all of that. And then you got to compare it to this like sort of silly sort of like buddy cop situation of them running, and Kong's got the Infinity Gauntlet now, and it's like this whole wild. But it's fun though. I covered Monarch: Legacy of Monsters with Chris, and that show was so good.
I heard very good things about it. Yeah, I've heard really good things.
Yeah, it's not over the top in terms of like there's not a lot of Titan action. There is some, but it's more about the human story, and it's like that was something I feel like the movies don't quite nail is the human story. The show really nailed it, as did -1. But the show is like so cool in the way they sort of tied all the like Skull Island and Zilla and Kong all together, and there was more with Apex and Monarch, and sort of it just was such a good world building kind of show. So like I'm hoping we get a little bit of that here in some way, if but I have been enjoying this franchise, for what it is. Do you have a favorite out of all the ones that we've gotten so far?
I would probably say the one that I have the most fun watching is probably Godzilla versus Kong, but my favorite is the the one that started it. The Godzilla, I believe it was what 2014 when that
Gareth
came out.
Edwards. Yep.
Yeah, that one I thought was really good because I liked how they. A lot of people didn't like it, but I liked how they hid Godzilla kind of in the shadows for a bit. They
Yeah.
kind of like it was tiny, you know, and then the moment it happened, it was like epic. It was like, oh, I'm waiting for this. Like, let's go and stuff. And I love seeing Godzilla like just tear up those kaijus. So it was really fun.
Oh man, no, it was great. I love the 2014 one. I remember seeing it in theaters. Actually, it was for a friend's birthday. We all sort of went to celebrate her birthday. We watched Godzilla. That brings us to news and trending.
Yeah.
So the first story is it's close to my heart. This story, and I'm very hesitant about this one. So the series, I guess the writer, co-executive producer, Judalina Nira, from The Boys and Gen V, is doing a reboot of Bewitched, which I know isn't technically horror, but I sort of clump it in with like Bewitched, The Munsters, I Dream of Jeannie. It's like horror
Oh, yeah.
adjacent, fantasy, sci-fi, all that. It's in the realm.
It's like horror light. It's like light horror, you know?
Right? Witches and stuff. So I don't know how. So there's really not a lot revealed about what this reboot's going to be like. It's sort of being reimagined as an hour-long, maybe I guess like a dramedy version of Bewitched. There's no hints at if it's going to be spookier or a little more adult or like what they're going to sort of do. But now this shows the original Bewitched is actually very special to me. I watched it a lot with my mom growing up. It's like her favorite show. So I watched this.
Cool.
I watched reruns. Obviously, my mom grew up with it, and I sort of grew up with the reruns. But yeah, I grew up watching this. The characters, Samantha and Darren and Nora and Tabitha and all the characters. These are just people I've like grown up with my whole life. These characters and Elizabeth Montgomery's like just fabulous. She is actually in a really good Twilight Zone episode. If you guys have not seen it, it's called 2. And it is about 2 surviving vets during a nuclear war, but they're on opposite sides, and they have to kind of figure out how to coexist. And it's just so good. Anyway, she's so good. But yeah, I'm very nervous about a reboot. I don't know. I'm obviously very passionate about it. Do you give a shit?
I'm one of those people. I've seen the reruns and I've seen it, and like my mom's definitely, of course, more familiar with it than I am, and I'm more trusting with it mainly because of, I guess, like you said, the showrunner or the creator for it. She's been attached to some really good projects, so that's one thing that I think we can be excited for, is that hopefully she learned some really good things, you know, working on, you said, Gen 5 and working on The Boys, and is able to take that knowledge and, you know, put it into this show and maybe, you know, bring to life and, you know, bring some new fans to Bewitched, because it's been long enough now that, you know, we have totally new generations of kids that are going to be into watching this and probably become fans of maybe the older show.
Yeah, we had that weird movie with Will Ferrell and Nicole Kidman that was not very
That's
good.
right, we did, huh? That's right, we did do that.
And that was a weird movie, right? Because it was like a show within a movie, because in the movie was our universe where Bewitched existed, and then they were rebooting the show, and Will Ferrell was playing Darren, was playing an actor playing Darren, and Nicole Kidman was playing a real witch being cast as Samantha. It was such a weird setup for a movie.
They're trying to be too meta for their own good.
It was
They're
very
trying to be
meta.
way too meta.
I don't know. Maybe they like Scream. The people who made that movie. I don't know. It was very sort of Scream 3-esque, the way that they sort of went with that. But anywho, you know, you bringing up like sort of trusting I can't Nira, Judalina. I'm totally butchering the name. But what I love about The Boys, I had not seen Gen V, but what I do love about The Boys is how like on the nose they are. And I don't think in a weird sort of heavy-handed way. I love how they just go for the jugular for when it comes to like social commentary. And Bewitched is sort of this sneaky social commentary of the 60s because Darren and Samantha were a metaphor for like an interracial marriage, like a mortal and a witch, and they shouldn't be together, but they love each other. And people like Samantha's mom is telling her not to marry this mortal, and you know, chaos ensues from there in a slapsticky sort of way. I would be very curious to see if the creator is gonna kind of take their experience with the boys and they're sort of having dealt with material that was socially conscious, and you know, how do you adapt Bewitch for the modern era? You know,
It's
like
true.
I was
It could be
thinking
done.
about, was that?
I said it could be done. It's true. Yeah.
It can be done. You know, I'm wondering if they sort of go that route. It's kind of in the way like, I was gonna save this for my, because I'll gush about it later, but X-Men, you know, because we got an X-Men trailer, guys, for the animated show. So, but that, you know, spoiler for my shout out and just rant. But that was also sort of a sneaky social commentary. Well, not maybe that very sneaky, but that was also a civil rights movement story. And then it sort of transitioned sort of as time went on, right? After like racial integration, it became more of a metaphor also for like the AIDS crisis and how the queer community was being treated. And it sort of evolved with the times to include more marginal, like my mic over, getting so excited, became a story for, you know, for other marginalized groups as well. So I'll be curious where they go with this, but I don't know. I'm nervous, but excited.
Yeah. It's gonna be fun. It's fun time, you know, because there's a lot of different, you know, horror stuff that's coming out. We got the Beetlejuice 2 come in, you know, we got Bewitched, Friday the 13th TV series. So there's a lot of different, you know, shows that are coming out that are, and like movies that are just pulling from all that stuff from back in the day. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get to relive a new era of horror.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, so no, obviously that's the only bit we got about Bewitched. Our next story, we got our first, just, you know, couple of preview images of Horror in the High Desert 3. Have you watched this series yet?
I haven't. No, this is a found footage series. I was quite excited about this because this is one I'm not familiar with, and the fact that this is a third one, I was like, oh wow, okay, so this is gonna be something I can, you know, I could binge one day, kind of like, you know, like kind of like Hell House LLC, you know, just binge
Yeah.
them.
So yeah, Angel and I will both implore you to watch these movies. I was really impressed with the first one. And the second one really ups the game in terms of scares as well. They are a little bit more slow burn, but what I love about it
Okay.
is they, you know, I didn't realize I had a favorite subgenre of found footage, but it's the mockumentary. Like I really think like mockumentaries are where it is at. And so the Horror in the High Desert sort of follows, the first one sort of follows this missing persons case. This like young man goes hiking through the desert. He's like an adventure, it's like a survivalist. He kind of goes out and kind of like very bare bones, doesn't bring much, and kind of just goes and treks. But then he sort of goes missing. He doesn't check in with his roommate. And it's this whole thing. They interview the mom, the roommate. They kind of investigate the weirdness going on in the desert. And then Horror in the High Desert 2 Minerva kind of follows another person's experience and how does it link to the first disappearance, and right. And so it almost has like I don't want to spoil too much. I mean, it almost has like it's not quite like The Hills Have Eyes, but I would say it's almost like a found footage version of The Hills Have Eyes.
Nice. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
That sounds interesting.
In a way, in a little more of like a slow burny kind of way. It's a little more somewhere between Hills Have Eyes, Texas Chainsaw. Somewhere, I would say it's like somewhere in the middle there.
Nice.
I don't know.
That's cool
Two
because
extremes.
deserts, they can be scary. Yeah, they
Yeah,
can be
yeah.
scary. That's a good setting, deserts.
Yeah. So, but this third one, so yeah, we just get a little bit. We get sort of a flashlight shot down kind of a dark hallway to an open door. We get someone kind of sitting outside the desert. I don't remember. This is not the original missing case. And then we get a look through a cave. So different locations. We're getting mountain range, we're getting some creepy house, and we're getting some caves. So we're gonna get in different locations. But we also did get a title, which is Firewatch. But yeah, so far Cloaked in Mystery, it's getting a festival premiere in San Francisco, California, from March 26th to the 31st. And then hopefully, I think so. The first 2 movies are going to be on Screambox. And then I would say that's maybe where it's going to go after the festival.
Yeah.
Will probably be Screambox.
Yeah, I think they're really trying to compete now with kind of Shudder as being like the next, the second big game in horror streaming.
Yeah, if they just keep getting winners like this series, I'm telling you, you're gonna want to watch this soon. And you got to message me an Angel when you do. And they also did confirm that there's going to be a 4th and 5th one of these movies too.
Nice.
So yeah, this movie really surprised me, as well as, and I've gushed about it enough. But the Blackwell Ghost series is also very phenomenal, and that's a kind of like a mockumentary. Kind of, it's got like interview portions to it. But yeah, very cool. So just brief news: we're getting another shark movie.
Yeah.
Deep Water, starring Aaron Eckhart and Ben Kingsley, and it's the director of Deep Blue Sea. So that is pretty exciting. I don't think we're getting any other. Oh, we do have a synopsis. I'm sorry. Deep Water tells the tale of an eclectic group of international passengers whose plane en route from Los Angeles to Shanghai is forced to make an emergency landing in shark-infested waters. The terrified group is forced to work together and overcome their differences if they hope to escape their sinking plane and the frenzy of sharks drawn to the wreckage. So, Angel and I just reviewed No Way Up, which is essentially this movie. Yeah, it's this movie. So I don't know what happened in the writing somewhere. These 2 scripts sort of just happen to exist at the same time. I don't know. But I have a very positive feeling about this one compared to the one that we reviewed. If you haven't, we have a review up now. Go check it out. If you are so inclined, I will connect that movie to this episode. But just because you have people like Aaron Eckhart, Ben Kingsley, like these are good actors. You've got someone who's done a pretty fun shark movie. Deep Blue Sea. I mean, it's not an Oscar movie, but it's a good shark film. It's fun.
Definitely.
I feel like they have the chops to pull this off. What do you think?
Yeah, this one, it's kind of funny that there's another script out there. It's like, it makes me wonder if like some of these scripts are just AI generated and like they're just doing that because they want to be lazy and they don't want to write. So the producers are just like plugging into the computer. But I don't know. I think
Maybe.
It really depends because I'm a hard sell for shark movies. Like there's some I do like The Shallows is my absolute favorite one. I love The Shallows a lot.
Oh yeah.
And then Deep Blue Sea is one that I fancy because it's a lot of fun and everything. So it depends on what it looks like. The story looks really interesting, so I'm very happy with that. It sounds interesting, so
yeah. No, I think the premise itself is great. I am hoping the execution in this version of the story is a lot tighter and a lot more exciting than maybe what we got with the other one.
Oh yeah, because I'll have to watch that review. I'm gonna have to watch that review now that you said. I'm gonna have to swing over and check that one out.
Please do. And I think I rented the movie. I was gonna say if it was streaming, then you could watch the movie and sort of see if you agree with us on how we feel.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I don't know. Now, shark. Everything's got to be on a plane now. Snakes, sharks. Or either on a plane or in a tornado. I guess.
Yeah.
But
I think they even did, what was it? They did a vampire one on a plane too. What is it called? But yeah, there's a vampire one on a plane too.
Oh gosh, it's on Netflix. I'm totally blanking. But
I want to say like
they were
Red Sky or something. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Blood Red Sky.
But yeah.
Blood Red Sky. Yes. So that is. I don't think there's no set release on that. But that is in development now. Just a quick update. We are getting not quick updates. Couple of big details here. So Goosebumps got renewed for a second season on Disney Plus.
Wait,
Have you seen Goosebumps?
I haven't seen that one yet. That one's on the watch list. Yeah, I got
So-
obsessed with watching Fargo.
All good. So I recommend. This is another one I covered with Chris. We covered the first season. You can go back and check it out. I think we covered it in December. So what I really love about the reboot is they sort of went this like Fall of the House of Usher Netflix route, where they took sort of the classic sort of The Mask, Night of the Living Dummy, what's the other one? Cuckoo Clock of Doom, Say Cheese and Die. Like they took a lot of these kind of classic Goosebumps stories and they weaved them all together in a singular narrative where like every main character sort of had their own story that they were experiencing from the novel. But then
That's
they
cool.
all sort of tied in together to like a larger arc, which was really cool. So it got renewed for season 2. But the bummer, kind of, if you were really in love with those first characters, is they will not be coming back because they are going to go the anthology route this time. And so season 2 is going to have a new location, new cast of characters, experiencing their own. I'll read the synopsis because we actually did get a little bit of a snippet. So season 2 is going to follow teenage siblings discovering a threat within their home, setting off a chain of events that unravel a profound mystery. As they delve into the unknown, the duo find themselves entangled in the story of 5 teenagers who mysteriously vanished in 1994. So probably modern day like the first season, but with flashbacks to, and they did this in the first season too, the flashbacks to the 90s.
Yeah, 90s nostalgia. It's coming.
90s nostalgia is there. And it made me feel old because I'm not that old. I'm not as old as the parents who were in the show. Maybe it was the 80s. Maybe it wasn't the 90s. Maybe it was the 80s they flashed back to. I can't remember. But I was like, because these are kids. I'm older than the kids, but I'm not quite the parents' age, but I relate more to the parents. And I'm like, oh man, they really trying to make me feel old. That was because I'm getting the in-between generation, with those kids. But anyway, totally. If you said you haven't watched the first season yet, it's a blast. Justin Long's in it. He's fantastic.
I'll have to check it out. And definitely, it seems like that because Fargo does that, True Detective does that, and now how Goosebumps is doing that. It seems like a lot of shows, even American Horror Story is another show that does that too. So it seems like it's becoming a common theme now to do it's a new season. Let's just get new cast members, a new story, kind of freshen things up, and just do it every time.
Oh, it's great. I am a big proponent for anthologies. Just because, like, they used to be all the rage, like Twilight Zone, The Love Boat.
We're back.
Yeah. So anthologies used to be all the rage, right? So because you had Twilight Zone, The Love Boat, I'm trying to think what other ones.
The Outer Limits was one from back in the day that I remember.
Yeah. I mean, Rod Sterling did a bunch. The Night Gallery was another one. But the anthologies used to just be like one story an episode, right? Now we're sort of getting the new thing, right, is one story per season, which that you can get a little more invested, which makes sense. So I think that's sort of the modern twist on the anthology, but I love that style is back. Yeah. Or one and done seasons like Mike Flanagan, Haunting of Hell House, Bly Manor, Midnight Mass, right? I mean, because it's not really technically an anthology because they're not all connected, but it kind of counts. And which brings us to our final story. Michael Chavez is hired to direct the 4th and final Conjuring film. So Chavez is directed The Nun 2, and as well as The Devil
Devil
May Be
Maybe
Good,
Do. Yep.
which is the third one. I forget what else outside of. Did they say what else he did outside of the Conjuring universe? I don't know, but plot details are under wraps. So, but we are going to get our sort of I don't know if it'll be the final performance from Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga as the Warrens, because they could show up in another movie, right? It's a universe, so they could show up, but this is going to be the final Conjuring film. As far as consistency goes, the main series has been the most consistent compared to the Annabelle films or the Nun. So while The Devil Made Me Do It might not have been as good as the first two Conjuring films, I still feel like it, specifically because of these two actors, it holds its own a little bit more than some of the other spin-off films. And those first two are still like repeat viewings for me. Like I love those first two Conjuring films. They're scary, they're funny, they're heartfelt. So reactions to the fourth and final film, reactions to the director, or just in general.
I think it's kind of cool that they're keeping it or like in the same family as a director who kind of knows the lore, he knows the universe, so hopefully he could still bring that kind of same flavor to this fourth film. I do, like, I'm not huge on The Conjuring. My kids definitely love it. Like, my daughters love it way more than me. That was a kind of a genre of horror that they totally fell in love with, that they really adore. And me, I kind of do hope that they're able to put a finale pin in this one, and it's good. Like you said, if it's going to be their two last performances and we see them, I really hope it's something that they get to, go all out on and have fun with.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they're just such a great pairing, these two. I love like the quieter moments. Like I always think about like in Conjuring 2 when he's singing Elvis to the kids, and I'm like, that's just such a sweet, beautiful scene. And it's like, man, like that sort of was very reminiscent of like something like Poltergeist or something like, where it's like you could sort of get these like quiet, soft, like heartfelt, emotional moments. I hope we get back to that for this last one and really have like a nice finale. Compared to sort of the lackluster, Insidious Red Door situation was fine. That was a finale of sorts, and also starring Patrick Wilson. He directed it too, which is, I don't know. I won't be too negative there.
Yeah, a lot of people had mixed feelings on that one. I know. I don't know what it was about that one. Like, I liked the way that they tried to handle the character stuff. I didn't mind that they were trying to go and back and just rediscover something that we already knew. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's because I've had like kind of a like mixed relationship with my father being in and out of my life, that maybe that whole thing maybe just spoke to me a little bit because it was between him and the son and stuff. I really wish Rose Byrne was in it a little more. That would have been fun.
Oh, she's one of my favorite actors, Rose Byrne. She's so good.
She's great.
No, I think the father-son stuff with him and Dalton were great. No, this is just becoming an Insidious conversation, but I think just overall, like, it's a great film about that family. It's not a great film about the further.
That's true. I could see that. That's a good point.
You know what I mean? Like, it works as a character film, but I wish there was just a little more. Now, I'm a whore for lore, as I will say. I love lore and story building. This is sort of the fantasy fan in me. Like I'm playing right now. I'm playing Baldur's Gate 3. I'm playing Final Fantasy 14. I'm all about lore and stuff. So I'm like, and I want that in my horror too. So just give me some more Easter eggs, some more nuggets, please. You don't have to spoon feed it. Just give me a little bit more, a little salt and pepper, please. But yeah, So that brings us to sort of our wrap up, our shout outs and recommendations. Norin, I know you had a special one, so why don't you kick us off?
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. That's so gracious. Thank you.
Yeah.
My shout out is for somebody special. It's actually one of my coworkers, and I wanted to shout her out because she didn't think I was going to do this. She just recently started like supporting and like watching the YouTube videos and kind of discovering this world of YouTube, which is kind of funny. So I'm shouting out Monica. She's a fabulous mother, and she works 3 jobs. And like I said, one of my coworkers, and wanted to shout her out on this video and show her some love.
Monica. And I can't top a shout out like that. I mean, Monica sounds amazing.
Thank you.
So my shout out was
she's
literally
really
I was going to gush about nothing even horror related as well. We got the trailer for X-Men 97. For people who know me, I mean, obviously you could see the big X-Men console behind me. I have a stack of X-Men books right here.
Nice.
Huge fan. Both me and my husband are huge fans. And I'm going to just sort of suspension of disbelief here, or just suspend the horror connection, because I like to say, like, horror can be a very tangential sort of thing. There are some very horror. There are a lot of horror elements in X-Men as well. Especially if we talk about body horror, mutation, the way people are treated can be very horrific. So the connection is there. We will have a discussion about that. But yeah, for the people that don't know, on Disney Plus in March, I think it's March 20th or something like that, we're getting a continuation of the X-Men animated series from the 90s, which ended in like 96, 97. So X-Men 97 is picking up as if it never ended. And this is the next season. Keeping sort of the flavor. It's updated animation style. It still sort of has like the 2D cell shading that the 90s has, but it's obviously some sort of 3D animation. It's very crisp, but it's keeping at least the color and the lighting of the original. So that looks really cool. And yeah, I mean, they're going hard into the civil rights metaphor. You can tell from the trailer. I'm just on an X-Men high. So,
nice.
But there is horror stuff. There is stuff, especially if you go to the Savage Lands, or if you, Mr. Sinister, or any of the kind of other stuff that's going on.
They even did were you a fan of, well, yeah, that was Savage Land, right? Or was there I know they did an X-Men comic series where they ran into vampires and then they started slowly getting turned into vampires. Did you read that one?
No, but I think which one are you talking about?
It was one where they looked newer, updated. I want to say this was probably like I want to say a 2015 or 2014 type run era. And they discovered, I believe it was supposed to be Dracula, and then like he slowly started turning the other mutants into vampires and stuff, and they had a fight.
So Dracula is a Marvel character. I can't remember the name of the series though. I know what you're talking about. I'm gonna have to reread it.
You're gonna have to go back and read that one.
Yeah, but Marvel Zombies. I mean, you look at Multiverse of Madness with Doctor Strange and Wanda, like. Superheroes have dabbled into horror. Obviously that being a very more recent one, but like you're saying, there's that comic. Marvel Zombies had been a thing. Trying to think what else. But anywho, that's my X-Men rant. Just wanted to share my excitement. and if you're excited for X-Men as well, please share the love in the comments. Thank you so much, Norin, for being my co-host again this go around. Angel, I think, is supposed to be coming back in April, so we've got some more coffee crypts coming. We'll have to have you back.
I will definitely be down. Definitely.
Hell yeah! So, and I mean it, for the stop motion. If you want us to a review, we'll be. I know you and I will be chatting. So that is always open. And for everyone watching, have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And pour yourself another cup of coffee. We will see you next time. Bye now.
Bye.